Hello, good afternoon class. How are you doing? Hope that you're all fine and safe. Before we start, I would like to thank you for our discussions before our video about our previous lessons. I've seen that you have understand a lot about the calendars and you know what the years of the months are or the months of the years are, and you also know the days of the week. Thank you for explaining that to me. And now we're going on to our next chapters or next units. We are on Unit 8 now, on page 50. Can you please take out your book and turn to Unit 8, page 50? Unit 8, page 50 is entitled, What Are Seasons? Yes, season is going to be our topic for today. So what are seasons, class? Can you name me the 4 seasons of the majority of the world? That is my first question to you. What are the 4 seasons for the majority of the world? You can also look in your book and you can see the seasons on page 50. They have some pictures of, for each season, what each season represents and what the weather is like. Okay, we will go over all this in our video today. So get your notebooks and your pen or pencil out and let's ready to start. Okay, I'm going to read the first few lines for you, and if you want you can also read it with me. Okay, on page 50, the top of the page. We're ready to begin. What are seasons? Most places have 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. They follow each other in a cycle. Okay, what does the word cycle mean? Cycle. So they follow each other in a cycle. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So I mean they follow each other in a circle, right? For example, this is spring. Then the cycle means it's coming around summer. Then the cycles, they always follow each other. Then it goes to autumn. Right? Then it comes down to the last season, which is, class, what is the last season? Yes, winter. And it goes back to the start of the cycle again. So this is what you call a cycle. A cycle means it just goes round and round and round and it never stop. Okay, so we can start from spring, then summer, then autumn, then winter, then it goes back to the cycle again. Just like our calendar we studied last week. We start our month of the year in January, right? From January goes all the way through December, then the cycle starts over again from January. Same thing as the days of the week. The cycle starts from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then the cycle starts again on a Monday, right? Okay, this is the same thing for our seasons. We have 4 seasons in majority of the world, which is spring, summer, autumn, winter, and it goes in the cycle. So now that you have known the 4 seasons, let me ask you this, class. What is the weather like in each season? So what is the weather like for each season? You can look at the pictures on page 50 in your diagram and you can see for each weather, what is it like in each season. So I want you to tell me during the spring season, what is the weather like during the spring season? Is it hot? Is it cold? Or does it rain a lot? Is it really windy? You can post something up on our Telegram group chat, explaining to me what the weather is like for spring seasons. Or if you want, you can write a quick paragraph, like 2 or 3 sentences about spring. Okay, class, for today we study the season, but for this week we will study only about the spring season. So we will learn a lot about the spring seasons. So let me ask you this, class. In spring, in majority of the world, let's say most places of the world, what are the months in spring? Can you tell me? Can you tell me the months in the spring seasons? Where does it start from? What month the spring season starts from? That will be your bonus questions. What month represents The spring season. This will be your bonus questions, class. What month represents the spring season? You can answer me these questions before the end of our second video. And I will give you 2 extra points on your whole test today for if you answer me this question before our end of the second video. So what month does spring season starts and what month does spring season end? Okay. For each, we know for spring season, what is the weather like in each seasons? If you look at this picture on spring seasons, spring, you can tell it starts to get hot, right? And maybe in some places it starts to rain a lot. Because as it says here, spring season comes after winter. New plants begin to grow. Leaves grow back on trees. Flower grows. Many animals have babies. So that means the weather is nice and cool. And it starts to rain because the trees are starting to have leaves in a lot of different places. And the grass and everything else starts to grow back. And the flowers is starting to bloom. So that means it's nice and cool. The weather is probably raining. Not too hot and not too cold, right? Because animals starting to have their babies. So that means there are plenty of foods for the animals, right? Okay, now we have touch on that. What is the weather like in each seasons? Now my next question to you is, do people wear the same clothes during each seasons? So for summer, do you wear the same clothes in summer as in winter? Yes or no? As we see here in this picture, winter there's a lot of snow and people make snowmans and it's probably really cold, right? And for summer, people here goes to the beach. They sit under an umbrella and you see a picture of the sun. So summer is really hot, right? Hot. And the winter is really cold, freezing cold. So, do people wear the same clothes during each seasons? Yes or no? Please answer that questions in our Telegram post, explaining to me why they wear the same clothes or why do they don't wear the same clothes. And my last question to you is before I give you your task is, how many seasons are there in our country? So in Cambodia right now, how many seasons are there in Cambodia? Can you tell me? Can you post something up on what are the seasons in Cambodia? In Cambodia, we know we have 2 seasons, right? We have 2 seasons. Hope you can see my board, it's kind of crowded. But in Cambodia, we have 2 seasons. They are what? If you say they are the raining seasons and the dry seasons, you are correct. Raining and dry seasons. Okay, what activities do we do in each season? What activities do you do in each season? So during the raining seasons, what do most people do in Cambodia? You can post something up on our Telegram page explaining to me what do you do during the rainy season. And in the dry season, what is the weather like in the dry season? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it windy? Or does it rain a lot in Cambodia during the dry seasons? I want you to answer these questions. How many seasons are there in our country? And answer the subsection. What are the seasons? I have wrote it down for you already. But answer B and C. What activities do we do in each season? But when you answer this question, answer it in your own words. What activities do you do in each season? And what is the weather like in each season? So what is the weather like during each season? You can answer this in your own words, okay, class? I will give you 5 minutes to answer these questions in your notebook. Once you have answered your questions in your notebook, please post it on our Telegram post so everybody can see your answers to see if you know what the 2 seasons are and what you do during each season. So right now we are in what month, class? If you say we are in September, you look up board, you are correct. So is September the raining season or the dry seasons in Cambodia? Is it raining or dry seasons right now? Was it raining yesterday? Was it raining today? That should give you a clue, right, for what season that we are in right now. And for most people in Cambodia that live in the province, what do they do during the rainy seasons? That's a good question. So what do most people do in the province do in the dry seasons? If they have, for example, farmlands, if they have a lot of agriculture products, what do they do during the rainy seasons? You can also answer that in these questions. Okay, class? Okay, class, this concludes our first video. I mean, this is the end of our first video. And after the video is played, let me know that you have finished watching this video, and I will post you your first task after the video is played. Again, your first task I will post into our Telegram page so you can see it. It is an article about springtime. I want you to read the articles and answer the questions on the bottom of the page, right? There are some true and false questions, and a lot of the questions are about spring seasons, are about springs. All the questions are about spring. So what people do around the world in springtime, what animals do, and how the weather is like for each season. Okay, class, you will be given 30 minutes to complete this task. Once you complete it, please send it to my personal Telegram so I can correct it and give you back your score. For now, this is it, and see you in our second video. Hello class, welcome back to our second video for today's lessons. And thank you for sending me your task for this first task. I could see it was pretty hard and pretty complicated, so thank you for the questions, and I'm glad that you have understand now. So for our first video, we have talked about the 4 seasons, right? Spring, summer, autumn, and winter. For the season autumn, for some countries like America, they also call fall, F-A-L-L. Fall is the same thing as autumn. So if you ever have a chance to go visit America, when they say, oh yeah, today is, or this season is the fall season. Fall means actually the same thing as autumn. Thank you for your questions about that in our conversation. And now that you have figured fall is the same thing as autumn, you can dialogue with some Americans now. Okay, but for our lesson today, we have talked about only spring section. So for your first task is all about spring, and your second task will be also about spring. So this whole week we will study about spring. What is the weather like during springtime? What conditions are the animal is in, and how trees are starting to generate its leaf again during spring. So thank you for our conversation on that. And we know during spring, the weather rains a lot, right? It rains and it's not too hot and not too dry. That's why a lot of trees and flowers are blooming or growing leaves again. And that's why many animals starting to have babies during spring again, because there are plenty of food for them during the spring seasons. And thank you for answering me these questions. Because in Cambodia, as we know, we have 2 seasons, right? There are the rainy seasons and the dry season. And as my question earlier about you is September. Was it a rainy season or a dry season? And most of you have said September, it's a raining season because yes, yesterday it rained and probably today it might rain again. So we know from the rain, September is a raining season. And a lot of discuss to you, a lot of people in Cambodia live in the provinces that have farms. During the raining seasons, they start to grow a lot of rice and agriculture field, right? So during the rainy season, people start to plant rice and plant a lot of vegetables for their harvest. And in the dry season, that's when they start picking the harvest, picking the rice, preparing it for the next raining season. So like our word in our first video, the word cycle. The word cycle means everything goes around and around, like the cycles of our seasons, the cycle of our months in the year, and the cycles of our week. Like from Monday through Sunday is a cycle. From January through December and back to January is a cycle. And from spring, summer, autumn, and winter is a cycle. So every year is the cycle in our world, correct? Okay, class, if you have any more discussions or you have any more questions about our seasons, that you can ask me and I will gladly guide you with this exercise. Okay, now for your task 2. Task 2, I will also upload it on our Telegram post. Task 2 have more readings and more questions about spring seasons. You will be given 40 minutes to complete task 2 because task 2 have a lot of questions. Once you have completed task 2, please forward it to my personal Telegram so I can correct it and give you back your grade. Okay, class, this is the end of our second video, and see you in our third video. Hello class, welcome back to our third and final videos for today's lessons. So, what did you learn today? Can you tell me anything about our seasons? Yes, we have learned today about seasons, and most importantly, we have discussed a lot about the spring seasons. Next week we will go on to the next seasons of following the cycle of spring, but we will discuss that next week. So thank you for submitting me in your first and second task. I have seen that you have understand what the seasons are, especially what the weather is like during spring season around the world. And most definitely we have talked about the season here in our country, where we have discussed there are only 2 seasons in Cambodia, right? There are the raining seasons and the dry seasons. And we have discussed during the raining seasons, many people in the province start to grow their crops like rice and their vegetables and fruits, so they can sell it for the dry season, so it cycle will come around to the raining season, correct? And thank you for discussing with me what activities do you like to do during each seasons. For example, right now the raining seasons, and during vacations and holidays and Khmer New Year's, you like to go out and travel with your families. And thank you for sharing that with me and our classmates. Okay class, now on to your homework. Your homework I will post after the video is played. So when you are finished watching this video, let me know, then I will post you your homework. Again, this is your homework assignments. I will post it up on our Telegram post so you will know what to do. And when I post it up, I will give you more example on how to answer these questions, okay? Again, your homework is due before we start our class the following week. So it is important for you to do your homework and send it to me, okay? So I will give you your full grade. This concludes our video lesson for today. This concludes our seasons about spring. Till we see each other again next week talking about winter. For now, goodbye class.